Hello everyone, welcome back to another video on my YouTube channel. This video is part of the YouTube series that I'm making called Zero to Hero Business Central. In this series, I already uploaded a few videos on my YouTube channel. In this particular video, we are going to learn about table relation, field groups, and lookup page ID. If you see the definition of table relation, the table relation property lets you establish lookups into other tables. For example, whenever you are creating a field and you wanted to actually look up for the data from other tables in that particular field, then you can go with the table relation property. Do not worry about what does it mean to establish lookups into other tables, because we are going to see that in code as well as in business central, so do not worry about that. Also, we are going to see what are field groups and lookup page id. So let me actually go to my business central. In here you can see we are on the employee page, which is a list page, and we are going to actually create one field called employee id value, and from that particular field we are going to actually look up data from the employee table. So let me actually also go to my Visual Studio Code. In here you can see I am currently on the employee page, but we are going to create the field on the employee table. So let me actually go to employee table and let me go to the end so that I can actually create a new field. Now in here, let me do t field so that I will get a template for field, and let me actually call this as employee id value, and let me take it as an integer. In here, now I am going to actually establish a relation with the employee table. So for that, I need to use the table relation to look up data from other tables. Basically, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to write the employee table, and in here, let me actually take the employee ID. Now let me actually publish this and let us see how it actually looks when we only use table relation. But first, before publishing, I have to add this to the page as well, so it will be visible in the UI. So let me go to employee page and let me actually add that particular field. So let me do this, and let me actually add employee ID value. Now let me actually do the publishing so it will be visible in the UI. Now it is published successfully. So let me go to my business central. Let me refresh this once. And now here you can see the new field employee ID value has been added to the page employee page. So let me actually do the edit list so we can actually look up the data from the employee table. So if I click on this field, you can see there's something like drop down, and if I click on this drop down, now here you can see there are a couple of fields like employee ID, employee name, city. These fields are coming over here because I have a field group defined on my employee table. If I navigate to my employee table, here you can see I have a field group which is saying drop down with employee ID, employee name, city. If I just comment this particular code out and let me actually publish this, and let us see how that actually looks in the UI without any field groups. So now let me actually go to my business central again. Let me refresh this once, and now let me actually click on edit list. Now if I click on the drop down, here you can see now it is showing me only one value, which is primary key, which is employee ID. And even if I click on select from full list, it is again showing me only one value. So if I wanted to actually have multiple values in a drop down, then I have to specify those multiple values or fields in a drop down in field groups. So let me actually go in here. Let me actually uncomment this particular code. So all of these three fields will be available whenever I click on the drop down. So let me publish this again. So all of these fields will be added to the drop down. So let me go in here again. Let me refresh this once, and now let me again do the edit list, and let me now click on the drop down. Now here you can see there are three fields. Now if I click on select from full list, it is actually opening a system page. Here we can also verify that by just inspecting the page. Here you can see this is a system page. Now let us say whenever I click on this one, and when I click on select from full list, I wanted to actually open the employee list page. We can also do that by specifying lookup page ID property on the employee table. So let me actually go to Visual Studio Code, and in here let me actually add that property called LookupPageId and employee page. And now let me actually publish this, and let us actually see how it actually impacts the table relation dropdown. So let me go to my business central again, let me refresh this once, and now let me click on edit list. And if I click on now the drop down again, now here you can see it has again opened the same table data, but now it is actually showing the list page as well. So if I click on select from full list, now here you can see it is basically showing the employee page list, which is of type list. So that's what the lookup page id is. So whenever you specify a lookup page id on the table, and if someone is actually looking up data for this particular table, the employee page, which is of type list, is going to be shown up to the user. So that is how we can actually take care of the user interface whenever we are clicking on the drop down and whenever we are choosing select from full list. So that is what the lookup page id. And let me actually navigate to my field groups, and let me go over here, and let me actually now specify bricks as well. So if I go in here, we have two options: one is tiles, one is list. So basically in here you can see by default it is showing me the employee ID and the employee name. But let me actually add one more field called employee age in here. That I can do by specifying the field group brick and adding the one more field to that field group. So let me actually do that. So let me actually again navigate to employee table and field groups. Let me actually copy this particular code and let me paste in here. Let me call it as now break, and let me just take employee age, and now let us see how that actually impacts the UI. So let me go to my business central again, let me refresh this once, and now here you can see it has given us the age as well. So if I click on edit list, also now here you can see the age. If I go inside, we can also verify that by just seeing the age field. Let me just do the inspect so that we can find out the age field quickly. Here you can see the employee age is 20, which is actually shown over here. And if I just do the list, it is going to show me the list page normally. So that is what we have, like table relation property, field groups, and lookup page id property on the table. These are basically used to actually enhance the UI, like when I choose the tiles, what fields should be shown here, that I can choose by adding field groups break. And whenever I am actually looking up for a value from a table, and whatever the fields that I wanted over here, that I can actually do by specifying those fields in a field group drop down. Let me actually go in here, let me actually add one more field just for the sake of it. Let me just say basic salary, and let me now publish this, and let us see does it actually gets added to the drop down. So let me go in here, let me refresh this once, and now let me actually click on edit list, and let me now click on the drop down. Now here you can see it, the basic salary has been added to the drop down. So that's all that I have about table relation, field groups, and lookup page id in business central. This video is part of the YouTube series that I'm making called Zero to Hero Business Central. If you want to support me in this journey, creating a course that too freely available for everyone, you can just do that by subscribing to my channel. Thank you.